We are live. Hi, everybody. My name is Zach. I'm from Atlas Agency Launch Lab and Atlas Online Solutions. And in this very streamlined podcast, I go on with other agency owners, big and small, and try to get some gold nuggets for you guys from their journey, um, from where they were to where they are now to where they want to go. Hopefully, it helps some of you. Today, I'm on with Miss Jen from Stealth. Can you take a second to introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. I am Jen, or sometimes known as Yennefer, from Stealth Marketing Solutions. My fiance and I, Chris, we started it in October of 2022. So
Awesome.
we are fairly new and are in the marketing space for almost 2 years now, and have a background in marketing and sales, just not in the digital space. So it was a pretty seamless transition on a fundamental and theoretical level to do that. And we are based on Long Island, about 20 miles east of Manhattan, and super happy to be here with you, Zach.
Awesome. So Jen is also part of the Atlas Agency Launch Lab partners. She is head of the Brainspotting side. Would you be able to just really quick explain what that is?
Absolutely. So, along my life journey, I got my master's in somatic movement education with a focus on trauma. And during my time doing that sort of research, I stumbled upon brain spotting. And then a few years later, I started doing it for myself. So it is known as one of the most effective forms of neuro experiential trauma therapy. So great for stress. It's also something that CEOs and actors and actresses and high performers and pro athletes use to help get in the flow and um, get past any blocks that they have. So it just felt like a beautiful, seamless transition to take my clinical practice, my one-on-one clinical practice, and I did a lot of training in a group setting for brain spotting, and contextualize it and frame it into helping agency owners through the struggle of growing their agency. So, because no matter what, stress is stress, and we all get blocked in certain ways, and we use it to help support people. So, it's been a great success and such a pleasure to go on this journey with everybody.
Yeah, has been great. Actually, side of the launch side, excuse me, once a week, Jen comes on with the other group of students and does a 1 hour session of brain spotting.
Minimum 1 hour. Usually they can go between 75, sometimes even 90 minutes. And yeah, so as the program is evolving, the first group of students, I did a session and combined it with branding. So I've very much so gotten onto the branding train, and it's one of my specialties that I support my clients with in my agency. And so we've coined the term brain branding, so help people
Ooh.
get into their flow, right? So we do a little bit of brain spotting, set them up, and then with pen and paper in hand in the group, we go through their brand strategy, and they're just able to get into those deeper layers of thought processes on how they can align themselves, who they are as an agency owner, in relation to who they are as a brand. And
Very cool.
it's so cool.
Super cool. We're not going to get too far into brain spotting. I know that Jen could talk for hours on this, but just real quick, what how those sessions been going with the students and how they progressed so far.
Yeah, no, it's really beautiful. It's so nice for everybody coming from all different walks of life and all different stages in their journey. And it's just like this, it's like a meditative prayer, right? We all get really quiet and we all start to focus in our own unique way on the same thing. And throughout the process, there's quiet for some time, and then they write, and then I have them distill that writing into like a phrase or a word that they give as a gift. And that gift to each other starts then to start a really beautiful conversation. So it helps inspire them to think about things in a different way and just really start to resonate as a camaraderie, like as a team going through the process together. And with the new group of students, we went straight into the branding because that's where they're at on their journey and they're ready. And it's just been super profound to see a lot of, some of them have already been meditating, but they never thought about it like that. And
Sure.
they were thinking about branding, but they never thought about it like that. So it's just helping them, open up their ways of perceiving what they're doing, which is what it's here for, what I'm here
Awesome. Very cool. Excuse me. If you have any more questions about brain spotting, we have one or two videos about it. I think they're available to the public, and I'm sure that Jen can talk your ear off about it if you want to comment down below. And we're also going to put all of her information in the other comments as well. But moving on from there, going the agency owner side, would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I'm definitely a combination of both. I may look like an extrovert on the outside, but only when I'm in very comfortable situations, like right now, like right before we got on, I'm like, I'm nervous, I'm shy. Am I going to be able to get the words out? So I either talk too little or I talk too much, right? I munch on my words, as you can see. So I look like an extrovert, but I actually am quite introverted. Yeah.
There you go. How's that affected you in your in your role as an agency head?
So even though I think it's just through practice, like when I started in sales, it was really hard for me, but I was really good at it. So I just broke through those things. And even though I would be nervous and uncomfortable to get on, the sales calls on a sales floor every single day, it was just knowing that that's one of the hurdles I have to go through in life. So even, when I get on, it's hard for me to have, the up to the point where I have to get on that call or have that difficult conversation.
Yep.
But, we all have struggles. Not everything in life is, supposed to be easy. So
Right.
I've learned how to do it through practice. So it has gotten easier, but those feelings still come up. So I just
Right.
welcome them. They're there, but they're not going to stop me from doing what I need to do in this life or
There
want to
you
do.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. So would you say that it's accurate that if you aren't naturally outgoing and talking to people makes you nervous, that it is a skill that you can learn?
Yeah, I mean, it's a skill like that we're able to, we're all able to have conversations for the most part. We wouldn't be in this space if we knew, especially people that are coming into Atlas Agency, like Launch Lab world. We've all had to have certain none of us live in a cave. So we all have had to have conversations throughout our life. So I think that it's just something that we all have to figure out and learn how to do, whether we're behind the scenes, but we're managing different teams and different personalities, or talking to the client. In the end, it's, or, talking to your team members. It's really no different. You just have to be able to communicate the things that you need to with integrity and try to get your point across as clearly as possible and manage your emotions. I think we all have to deal with that in our own unique ways.
Absolutely. Wonderful. I just want to give some hope to maybe somebody out there that's really struggling. That's I'm really bad in the sales. I don't know if you noticed, but I have a speech impediment, and getting on these calls, I definitely not my forte. Jumping on sales calls, trying to talk to other people, but it is a skill that I'm trying to get better at, and hopefully, excuse me, doing something like this can help somebody else. So. Moving on, you did sales for a private company, right? Where you
Yeah,
right.
for more than one private company, very high-end luxury sales. Yeah, but it was like in person, like with the actual customers. So I was an account manager for several different high-end companies that I had to go like in the
So
field with the people. Sometimes, have marks of like 5, 10, $15,000 days, and some of the
wow,
products were no higher than like $300-400. So I had to like rake in the dough. So I had to do it over and over and over again. So
gotcha.
I had a bit of I had an unfair advantage coming in but it's that, but I had to learn a completely different way. Like I was just like, the power of the product here, this is amazing, right? It's very different than selling a service and
Yeah,
selling a future potential for a business who is, for the most part, looking to scale or struggling in some way. So I've had to learn all that different psychology on how to language that. But When I started, I had a script right in front of me and I would have it there and I would make sure I'd hit all those points, right? There's nothing wrong if you're uncomfortable and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You just have the points right there to make sure
Yeah.
that you stay on track, you know?
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way to do it. So
Absolutely. Well, the reason I'm bringing it up is it's going from having a steady paycheck job where your job is this, you know, you clock in, you do your work, you clock out, you go home, and then you forget about it until the next day,
yeah.
is such a huge shift in not only mindset but effort to running the show. But you had a bit of an advantage in that. What is it? You eat what you kill, right?
Yeah.
That's the term in sales.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you're in business and you're the business owner, you don't get a paycheck, obviously. So, how was that transition from going from that to this?
Yeah. So, and as I was doing that, I was, I'd already gotten my master's, but then I went full time in during COVID, just into the therapeutic space. So, just spending all my time like being with people and taking care of people, right? And
There you go.
seeing, like, say, the business owner when they come and they just want to unravel, So that was a bit of a transition to, having to put that sales hat on again and be more forceful. I wasn't used to being so like aggressively like every day I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And it was definitely a transition for me. And I think the biggest thing is that when you own your own business, and I come from like my dad owned his own business and now I know what he meant, like you can never get it out of your head because everything is on you. That's the hardest part, is that all Chris and I do, who's my fiance, all we do is talk about work. And like, we literally like, okay, we're not going to talk about work. 5 minutes later, we're in talking about work. So it's all consuming, but like, we love it. It's our passion, but
Yeah.
we still have to really figure out how to turn that off.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a popular misconception where it's like, you can't talk about work around the dinner table, right? You got to be able to. And then there are people coming out that I know that aren't the norm, but you look at somebody like Alex Ramosi,
Yeah.
who he goes, all I want, like, I like working. I like talking about work. I like talking about business. So like, I don't like, if it's a conversation about anything else, I'm not interested. So of course we talk about business around the, the
Yeah.
kitchen table and then, when we're laying in bed because it's fun. But but if you need that time, like Sheena does, or just like stop talking about it, I need to decompress so that I can actually go to sleep, then
Yes. No, that's different. Look at, like, Chris and I, since we only, like, we've only been in the space for less than 2 years. And with all the advancements, like, especially with AI, like every single day we're, oh, did you read this? Did you do this? And we test this one out because it is just super fun, right?
yeah,
It
it's our
is
best
like
friend.
every day. Like I literally this morning, I don't know how many I've got here. I don't know, maybe 23 links of like, from TLDR marketing that I need to look up. But like I love to research, right? You got a
Yeah,
computer. I was always going down rabbit holes. So you can't, go down every rabbit hole your whole life. So I know enough about like health and detoxing and, the universe and aliens and all that, all these things. Right. All right, that's enough. This is so fascinating. And I
yeah,
think we are still in this place where like we need to be early adopters, because doing the way, there's a lot of stuff that will be able to be automated soon. If we can take reign and take control of that for ourselves, like the reward will be so great. So I think it's really necessary right now. No matter what, we have to ride this early adopter wave, don't you think?
in, into
Like
AI, you mean?
like there's so
Yeah,
much stuff that soon we'll be able to like we'll be all be able to like truly be more like self-sustaining, So I think it's really important that we keep on top of that stuff, because it's just super amazing what keeps coming out.
yeah, and to to jump into that for a little
Yeah.
bit, it's definitely huge a, a huge help, and I think a lot of people are worried about it, but it's just another tool.
Yeah.
You found, right? I mean, if you're good at what it 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 will replace some jobs, right? But you have to figure out how to either use it for what you do now and make it better, or to transition into a spot where you can use it to make you better in that
Yeah.
spot.
Totally.
But yes, I'll definitely say embrace AI. I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But
I'll make our lives easier. So anyway, next.
well, I know what Chris would talk about if I gave him this question, because Chat GPT is his best friend.
It is.
But what if you had to give a 30-minute speech about digital marketing, what topic would you speak on?
I would definitely talk about branding. That's
Okay.
my favorite. Yeah, I love aesthetics. I love style. I love writing style. I love composition. I love I always am looking for the deeper meaning behind something. So I love the brand strategy process because it really gets people feeling just like a deep resonance and feeling more connected and aligned with, you know, why they're doing it in the first place, right? Those, especially those internal purposes and core values and their tone of voice. And I get to bring my experience in psychology and with human behavior and then bring it into that space. So that's where I feel like I feel the most comfortable there. And I
Good.
love it. Like I love going, like I've done some one-on-one branding sessions with our students in Atlas Agency Launch Lab, and we do a little brain spotting first. And I'm like their scribe, right? So they just get to go in their flow, and I'm writing down pages and pages, and I help them say if they say something, and I'm like, hold on a second. This is, and I can feel it, right? I just let they say something and something comes to me and they're like, that's what I was supposed to say. I love that. Like that makes me so happy. And that's the beauty of the minds working together.
Yeah.
So that's what I love.
Yeah. That's awesome. You
Yeah.
take a second and explain why a personal brand is so important.
Mm, yeah. So right? So I'm 45, and I remember when all of a sudden like bloggers and branding all of a sudden out of nowhere. I was at a like a huge book conference at the Jacob Javits Center in New York City, and they were talking about like personal brand and blogging, and it was literally like the year that it became a thing. So I lived for almost 30 years of my life before it was a thing, right? It's just this new phenomenon that has come about where there's this whole new arbitrage economy of these individual entrepreneurs that can do business and put their face out there or put their voice out there if they don't want to have their face out there. So um, branding is so important because internet gives us the ability to like funnel who our tribe is, who's going to be attracted to us, because like there's a million marketers. So how are you going to differentiate yourself, and how are you going to know who you want to work with? Like one of our students said, I don't want to work with somebody if I don't want to have a beer with them, or if I don't want to, go and have a coffee with them. And he's literally going to be using it as part of his messaging, not like that in the way, not, he's not going to say it like that, but we're using that as like a jumping off point. And so I think it helps the agency or the business owner themselves like filter out. It's like then it becomes a two-way street. So they're not just like hitting anybody, but they're able to niche down on who's going to be attracted to them. So I think it's like it's a what's the word? I just use the word filter. Yeah, I can't think of a better word, but
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
it helps narrow it down. But like mutually, not just coming from, here's my services, but if you put yourself out there, like certain people are going to be attracted to you. And then
Yeah.
hoping that those are the people that you would more resonate with.
Yeah. And that I find that once you get to a certain size, your brand now becomes your marketing.
Yeah. Big time. Oh, absolutely. Exactly. The bigger the brand, like they spend a ton of money on their branding, and it's their branding that actually your brand, what do they call it? Well, the one thing is called deeper than the brand. Strong Brand Social is a company out there, and that they make sure that the branding is so strong that all those fluctuations and the trends on social media and the algorithms and the fluctuations in the market don't matter because their brand presence is so strong. So I think it's something that we should all be taking really seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if you look at a company like Nike, like
Yep.
the Jordan brand, right? You don't see any commercials for that. They're just uh, when a new Jordan shoe drops, there are fights in the streets over them.
Yeah.
And it's all brand. It's not because they're necessarily the best shoe on the planet, but it's just, um,
Totally.
yeah,
And then historically, Chris and I finished watching, I can't remember the name of the show, but it was about the rise of the Lakers,
right,
right? So I don't know if it's like true or not, but like back in the day when they first started, like excuse me, oh no, that was Magic Johnson. But Magic Johnson he had a shoe out like
okay,
earlier. Oh no, excuse me, it was the Nike. I apologize, it's not that show. It was the movie with oh, what's his name? I can't remember his name. He was in Arrested Development. It was about the rise of Nike. And at the beginning, just so you know, like they did a ton of advertising on it. So that's why at the beginning, before your brand is really strong, you
right,
have to put yourself out there and like imprint your brand in
yeah,
as many ways and test as many things. And if some things, I just read a cool statistic that if 50% of your marketing and advertising and social media strategies don't work, that means you're not trying hard enough. You have to try everything. And if 50% of them fail, so what? You scrap it, right?
yeah,
A meeting with a very big person in the social media space yesterday who we're doing business with. And she
awesome,
said, she's like, so what? Worst thing you do, you delete it. Try another one, tweak it a little bit. And I was like, oh my God, like you don't have to be married to this thing. Oh my God, it didn't work well. You just go, see, next. People have no attention spans anyway now. They don't care. They
yeah,
just say, okay, if the next one's going to work. I think people just have to like be a little bit more lighthearted and creative about things and not worry so much. If something's not working, then you tweak it.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, it was. I'm not sure who said it, but it was like, of course you're not going to be great at this. You've never done it before.
Yeah.
You don't, you're not born and you just start walking. Like you're going to crawl and then you're going to get on your feet and you're going to fall down. Then you're going to stand back up and you're going to try
Yes.
again. But so many
Yes.
people are just so afraid to fail right out of the gate, and it's that they don't even start. So they fail before they had the chance to fail.
And that is
Um,
it. No, it's really
yeah.
true. Yeah, no, they sabotage themselves, and that's really deep. That's another thing that the woman that we spoke to yesterday said. She goes, "My first several," and she in 2.5 years made $1 million in her company, and she's not
Wow.
even 30 years old. Yeah,
Awesome.
she is amazing. And so she said, she goes, like the first 10, 15 things I did, they were awful. She goes, and she said it, if in a year from now, if you don't hate what you did at the beginning, that means you're not growing.
Right.
Duh. So
Yeah. It is possible to get the right thing right off the bat, but it's
yeah,
the percentage is a little low.
yeah. Just got to start.
What
I'm not gonna hold it against you for trying.
what are you most proud of in your journey to date?
That I'm still here.
No,
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 I'm
no.
so I'm so proud that we did it. Like I'm so proud that I took all the steps and all the punches and all the licks and just no matter how much, like say like in the learning phase, like I don't regret any amount of money that I've paid. I'm not like, oh my God, I didn't like, it got me to where I am now. Like if I'm gonna hold on to that stuff, that's my problem. I'm not gonna let that get in the way of my success. So I'm just so proud that in this short period of time that we've gotten as far as we've come. And like we have like a way long way to go,
Yeah.
right? In the scaling world. But like we're in it now. I'm just like, oh my God, these are my days. A year ago, this isn't what my days were. I was just learning and going, oh my God, I have to open up Gmail accounts. Chris, you take care of that, right? I'm like, no, right? You remember, right? When you're like, we're like, we don't want to look at APB. And now we've come a long way. That's all. I'm just like really proud, like to see, the biggest accomplishment is just to see like where I was a year ago, which,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's just one day at a time.
that's it. That's it. No looking back.
Right. Um, hmm. If you're comfortable with this,
Hmm.
what would be the lowest moment for you when you were trying to get things up and running?
Mm, let me think.
Probably
I
when
was,
you met us, right?
huh?
Probably when you met us, right?
No way. No way. No way. You've been the biggest blessing. I would say the hardest thing was like doing it and like not making money, doing it and be like, oh my God. And like, even, now before we got our client, they took almost 3 months to sign. and just the amount of time, it was scary, and like how long they would take. Like the lows were almost like just internal. It's like these internal ups and downs going, they haven't signed yet, they haven't looked at it yet, oh my god, it's not gonna work. Like all this like self-defeating stuff that like
Yep.
they were just busy, like I would say my biggest lows were all because of my internal struggles. Right. So whether like right now, my days are like, it's just they're endless. Like I thank God just the last few days, maybe like 4 or 5 days, it's just been less. There's so much going on at once and I have deadlines every day. Those are my new lows. So my lows before were, oh my God, like they're not looking, it's going to fail. They don't want to work with us. Yeah. And like things take so long. Like their website's not even up yet. It's been going on for months because it was such a massive 102-page website. So
Wow. 102 pages?
2 pages. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, okay, God, you made us you made our star, you made our like, ride out of the gate not so easy, but that's okay. We're not complaining. But like my new low is just the amount of like everything that comes down at once and it has to be done in such a short period of time. And then all the, everything has to be done so fast. So that is my new low. So I think my new low will shift depending on like where I'm at and like what's affecting me the most because of
Sure.
my own internal struggles. That's
Yeah, that makes sense.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah, good. If you can go back to your 18-year-old self and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
I thought about this one when I read that. I would make sure that I fought hard enough and fought harder for what I really wanted to do in life. At that time, my parents had a stranglehold on what they thought I was to be, and it is part of my journey of why I've become, an independent entrepreneur, just because of the struggle and the journey. And I knew what I wanted to do, and they wouldn't let me. So I went through all of these, years in college where people were in the field that they wanted, majoring in what they wanted, and I was struggling because I was exactly where I didn't want to be. And the depression got, that'll be a lifetime of healing. So I would have told her, fight for it. They're not right. Don't succumb, because I didn't know what the consequences would have been.
Yeah. Yeah, and the consequences can go both ways,
Yeah.
depending on your decision. But it's you either, if there is that internal struggle between what your parents want and what you want, you're going to either have to die to yourself or
Yep.
die to your parents.
That's it. And I died to myself.
And the faster you can rip the Band-Aid off,
Mm-hmm.
The longer period of time that it's going to be easier. And even if they get, so upset because it's not what they're doing, I'm sorry, they get upset because you're not doing what they want you to do,
Yep.
then you're missing out all those years of what turns into resentment.
Big time. Honestly, why I got into trauma therapy, right? I spent enough years healing myself, and like I don't regret my journey for sure not, but that would be the thing I would say. And the good thing is, the thing that I wanted to do then, I got to do. I got to do all that stuff, but I did it in my own way. So like, I did reclaim that, it's been 25 years. So that's thank goodness enough time to have done it. But that's what I would have said to her.
Awesome.
Don't give in.
What is one thing about digital marketing that you didn't expect?
Huh.
Oh, so you thought your answers were going to be short. That's what you said.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
I'm not sure that the answers are going to be really short, so we can have a lot of questions.
Okay, good. Yeah, fine. You got a minute? The one thing that about digital marketing that I didn't expect, how hard it would be. It's hard, right? You see all these ads. You gotta just make a few phone calls, do this. All you gotta do is find this partner, this, that. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's not. It's hard. It's harder than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that that's what it used to be.
Yeah.
10 years ago when Facebook ads first came out, but then you also have everything else you've never done before, like HR and accounting.
Yeah.
and you know, possibly quarterly taxes, and
Yeah.
you know, try not to get sued, and being IRS compliant and all this stuff. Um, yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah,
if
you
you're
like
not ready
learn
for it.
through your mistakes,
Yeah,
you learn through, oh my God, I got to do that now,
right,
or oh my God, that happened. So we got
right.
to do a little damage control there. Yeah, it's just learning as you go. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's not easy. So
A lot
don't
of
be
times,
fooled, people. If you want to come into this is not for the weak, right? And this is not for people who shoot themselves in the foot. If you need some like direction, if you need a lot of direction, and a lot of people do, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't go into digital marketing. You have to be extremely self-motivated.
yeah. I, I think that would just be going into business for yourself in general.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people
No,
that
it's no fair.
that that think that, okay, I I want to be my own boss, but they don't really understand what goes into it, which is fine. I mean, that's probably what most people
Yeah.
think, but you got to really, in order to go into business for yourself, you got to think whether or not you just want to make a job for yourself, or
Yeah.
you actually want to have people working underneath you so that you can have the financial freedom. There's always trade-offs, but that's my train of thought.
Yeah, no, but that's totally true. No, think that no matter what, exactly what I was talking about, like if you are somebody who likes to be told what to do and have,
Yep.
that, then don't do this. Like you
Yeah.
have to really think things through all the time.
Yeah.
It just depends on your personality. And look at, if you try this and it's not for you, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not for
Absolutely.
everybody.
Yeah. There's no shame in going back to, it's really comfortable to be in a job and make a paycheck, and then you show up and you do your work, and then you leave, and then you don't have to worry about it, and your phone doesn't go off all night, and
Yeah.
you get calls from angry clients or
Yeah.
this or that or whatever. Have to manage different teams, and it, I guess it just comes down to choose your hard. But I know that I don't like working for somebody else, and I would rather put in the stress and the time and the effort and the early mornings and long nights, and you know, you trade your 40 hours a week for 100.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if and you're scratching your claw, but I like I like being able to do my own thing. So, um, what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now, and how are you tackling it?
Oh my gosh, my biggest challenge is just the multitasking. It's the daily, right? Since we took over their social media and their email on top of everything else, and the amount that we have to do, and the learning curve on top of, we'll be soon outsourcing there to a very big social media company that's going to create like this really monster content creation engine for them.
Awesome.
It's just a lot. It's just a lot. Like my biggest challenge right now is just like keeping on top, like because so much happens during the day, and then by the nighttime I'm tired, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to go through all this footage and like create new ideas for tomorrow, But like in the morning, when I could be more creative, and at the end of the night, so it's just trying
Yeah.
to manage like all the coming up with ideas, coming up with creative ideas, going through like the several re-edits and the lagging process, and just trying to read minds and trying to
Yeah.
always come up with cool content. It's hard. It's
It's hard.
harder and it's especially because it's such a particular niche, and they
Yeah.
have such particular needs,
Yeah.
and we really don't have any like ability to go outside of them. And when we try, we have to always have these really hard conversations. So we're just learning, learning how to handle it on this level. So I'm not
Yeah.
complaining, but it is challenging.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I can name drop, and it probably won't be. It's probably best not to. But Jen, in one of her first clients, landed this international company. Just like, if you know what the term whale means, that's it. Like she got it, and just both feet just jumped right in, and it's like, poof, right?
And we do everything for them.
Right.
That's what's so much fun. Like I used to be a professional photographer, videographer. I used to work in marketing, and I did branding in my own way, and did, all sorts of, for a marketing team when I lived over in Europe. And I get to do all these things. So I'm their videographer. I put the words in their mouth. I manage their emotions. I manage their expectations. I create their content. Like I'm like getting to be the creative that I always wanted to be with
Awesome.
them. So that's
Very
kind of,
cool.
yeah.
There you go.
I'm an artist. I am, I really am. I'm an artist and I'm a smooth talker, And I loved, like, they wanted a long-term intimate, like, relationship. We have dinner with that, like,
Awesome.
it's different,
Very cool.
so yeah.
But
So yeah.
you also have the luxury of living kind of close to them. So
Yep.
just
It was meant to be.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
And it got Chris to want to do this. So it was, yeah.
There you go.
Other than that, it wasn't happening. We learned that. I'm turning red right now. I tried. So
Oh, excuse me.
am I boring you?
No, I just long
I'm
days.
teasing.
Just
I
long
know.
days. In your opinion, what is the most important personality trait or strength that someone would need to work as an agency head?
Oh yeah, you have to be a chameleon, and you have to be really strong, and you have to take your punches really fast and get on your feet really quickly. So you cannot internalize things, and if you do, you need to go do that in the other room, shake it off, and come back out. You have to be extremely resilient. Yeah, you cannot be self-sabotaging, you cannot sabotage others. You have to be really clear on who you are as a person to be able to
Yep.
handle all these different personalities. You have to be mentally and emotionally strong. And
Yeah.
you have to have done enough work on yourself. I don't care if you've done it in therapy, if you've done it with yourself or your partner or your friends, like, you have to know yourself enough to know your limits and be able to face the challenges every day without taking it out on your spouse, on yourself, or on your clients. You have to be adult about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely. There's a lot of places that make it look really easy, and there's a lot of courses that maybe they know it or not. It is misleading on just how easy this is. And parts of it are easy. Fulfillment can be fairly simple, but it's definitely not for everybody.
No. Yeah, you have to be strong-willed and resilient.
There you go.
Yeah.
Also, yeah. What is your favorite productivity hack? Oh. It's good. I mean, I'm kind of glad you pulled it out because, for those that aren't in the space, it does seem, what's the term? Woo-woo, right? Oh, I think we lost her.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Exactly. Yeah, so literally, like, and that's especially, like, if you want it really quick, you find which eye feels most intense to look, like, you find where, and you just look there and breathe, and within a couple minutes you're just like, oh. So that's the biggest hack. My other productivity hack is literally I either go outside and I go do like 30 to 50 jump squats, or I get down on the ground and I do 30 push-ups. I go straight for or I pick up my 20-pound weights, and I'm just and it shifts the energy so fast.
Yeah.
I either need to do brain spot. It depends on my nervous system. It depends on how I feel. If I'm tired, if I'm feeling a little, but if I've got the energy, like, straight for jump squats and push-ups. It changes me so fast.
Awesome.
Like, I just get it out, because all it is stress. So exercise is the best way. And especially I always get my stress here, and especially like the legs and the quads are so connected to the heart where all the stress is held. So
There you go.
Jump squats and push-ups.
Squats and push-ups, physical exercise. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Especially with this sort of occupation. If you're coming from a spot that doesn't normally sit on a computer, there's actually I think I just recorded a whole part for a module about it, but it's just being able to recognize when you're not feeling okay, and being able to make sure that you go and you do the things that you're designed for. get actual sunlight and
Yes.
and 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 movement and fresh air and all this stuff, and actually have real meals instead of just snacking and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's
That's it. That's it.
huge.
Totally. Like if you feel like if you're someone who likes to take a bath at night, take the bath,
Right.
go outside. Like even if I don't have time and I've got 10 minutes, I'll go run around the block. If I don't feel like running, I'll go for a walk. I'll just sit in
Yeah.
the chair outside. Just like shifting instead of going, oh, I'm just gonna keep doing this. Like just shifting your attention somewhere else with
Yeah.
whatever it is that you want to do. It doesn't matter. I'm just telling you what I do, but like
Yeah.
Sheena loves yoga. Like I stretch and do yoga in the morning, at night. I'm just body movement, moving the body in some way, whether I'm moving my eyes, my breath,
Yeah.
anything, just to
Yeah.
not be like this all the time.
Yeah. And then sitting is the new smoking, right?
Yep.
That's the fun phrase. And so we're designed to move and stuff. So if you feel like you can if you're feeling good behind the computer, you can stay there for hours and you're really motivated. But if you're not, if you're feeling stressed, you're feeling tired, it's because you're not meant to be doing this.
Totally.
Right? Is that
Completely, exactly. We're not, think about it, up until not long ago, like we were always outside. We were up with the sunrise, we were down by the sunset, and sometimes they would wake up in the middle of the night and have right, there was like different cycles. So
Yeah.
we're just not, people were way more physically active. I just saw this video of like high school students in the 60s. They were ripped, they were in shape. Like we were so much more physically active, not even like 50, 60 years ago. Like we've just become
Yeah.
so sedentary
Yeah.
and so sedentary. So we have to really rip ourselves away from that and movement in any way.
Yeah, it just super important. I mean, there's a line where you don't want you want to make sure that you're not just using it as an excuse. You're like, well, I guess I'll just go do something else instead of like. There's a line, but if you're feeling really worn down, maybe try not to push through it. Maybe just go and try something different.
Yeah. And looking, if you're really worn down, go take a nap. Go rest, go lay on the floor. Sometimes I'll just lay on the floor on a ball, like it always depends. Look at Chris, 7:45 last night. He hasn't been feeling well because he hasn't been going to the gym. He went to the gym, just half hour on the elliptical. He just changed if he doesn't work out, he doesn't feel good. So just figure out what that is. And I'm sure many of you do. We're not telling you, oh, you don't do this. Like, we're just sharing like,
of course.
the importance of movement in this lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Florida.
Going to Florida?
Yeah, we're going to Florida.
Nice.
In either like the Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens,
Okay, that's
Beach
like
area, Southwest Florida. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. Yes, East Coast. My apologies. Okay. East Coast, about 90 minutes north of Miami.
Awesome.
Got family and friends there, and see myself in 5 years. I want my whole entire agency to be fully automated. I want like full automation. I want AI versions of myself, right? I want all my own avatars. I'll just click of a button. If we can do that, if I can work that hard to be able to take as much advantage of all that's coming technologically, with all the hard work that we're putting in, God, right. I'd be so interested to see that. Because I've worked so hard for so long, and I'll be 50 years old. And some people retire then. I would like to be really as hands-off as possible.
I would like to be one of them, right? I would like to be some people, right?
Yeah, I would like to be hands-off. I would, just because I'm not, but I want to be able to give back. I want to be doing more philanthropic stuff. I want to, I want to be able to just do where my heart goes, So Chris, his dream is to open up a beautiful space where he can just teach his mobility and have a healing space where people can come and work out and meditate and do all these cool technologies and PEMF and stuff. So I want to be more mobile. He wants to have that. So we'll figure out a mix between the two,
There
just to
you
do
go.
what we love, which is always be in movement. Like, but I don't want to teach classes. I just kind of want to like be there and create like a haven. Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be the dream.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I one of the other guys that I had on, he goes, I'm an outdoorsman. I don't like this computer stuff. I just want somebody else to run it and I'll go fishing.
That's it. I want to be on the beach. I do. But I
Which
do love the idea. Oh, sorry. Tell
no,
me.
no, please go ahead.
No, like Sheena and I were talking about like, the future, what we see with like Atlas Agency Launch Hub, like doing like, like all these like different people like do retreats, like do a retreat in Tulum and like mix these, massage and wellness and some business and some networking and
There you
beautiful
go.
dinners. And I love like these beautiful immersive destination experiences. Like those I'd be all for, just to make it more special, just to,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
And anybody that's ever heard the term passive income,
Yeah.
it may exist somewhere else, but it's not here. No matter how much you take yourself out of it, um, there is always going to be something for you to do, either putting a fire out, doing, the, you get the businesses to pay you, right? And so you can go and have somebody that then come in and make sure to collect the money and do the customer service and to make sure to handle problems. But you're always going to have your hands in it until you are able to sell it,
Yeah.
if possible. So if you're coming into this and like, yeah, I'll just be, 6 months, I can just sit on the beach all day and have to do nothing, and I'll just keep getting in money. You can do that more often than if you have a day job.
Yeah.
But that's not here.
Yeah.
But you can get people to work for you. You can automate. You can do all these things so that you can work, an hour a day. You can make the big decisions, and then have everybody else put out the fires and all that stuff.
That's where I could also see myself in 5 years. Not completely like just not sitting at my desk all day long every
Yeah,
day,
of course.
7 days a week.
Right. I mean, there are people that love working and love doing this, but even those people like to not have to do every single thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'd say I'm in the same boat. Be able to get processes in place where if there's complaints, if there's money issues, if this or that, the other thing, it's able to be taken care of unless it really can't, and then my phone rings instead of like, oh, I gotta go set up the next ad, right? Make sure that I put the right keywords in.
Exactly. We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're getting there. All right. I don't want this to be a podcast where it just runs on and on and on with insider jokes and stuff. So I'm gonna wrap this up here so that hopefully it's not somebody doesn't look at the time and go, I don't have time to sit down and watch all this. So where can listeners find you online?
You can find us at consultwithstealth.com.
Ooh.
So that's our website, and that's the same on Instagram. That's our Instagram handle, and Stealth Marketing Solutions on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I will put these into the comment section after we're done. And how can listeners support you and your work?
Pardon?
Oh, sorry. Ooh, come back here. How can listeners support you and your work?
Oh, well, if you're interested in branding and getting in the flow for branding and Brainspotting, and also if you are in need of like real impact on social media, these are our specialties and these are our super passions. And I'm always happy to have a conversation and either, help support you or help guide you in the right direction. So
awesome. Yeah. Jen's the best. So
you're the best. It's been so much fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, anytime.
Of course. So again, my name is Zach with Atlas Online Solutions and Atlas Agency Launch Lab. I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Thanks
Bye.
for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.